Hi everyone, Matthew from Unstoppable here, and today I'm just going to go through an AMA that we have going on for this weekend. Thanks again everybody for submitting questions. We appreciate it. We'd like to get back to you with what we're working on. So I've got the first question here from Joey, and it's what inspired you to create the decentralized blog? So we just thought that blogs were a natural next step for the decentralized web. They were one of the first non-traditional media use cases on the regular internet. And it just makes sense that they would also be one of the first to go out on the decentralized web. It's a familiar format for people to work with. And we also think that pretty soon you're going to see other types of content media sharing, such as like podcast or video channels. All right, the next one is from Laura, and it asks, do you envision a world with decentralized social media? So yes, absolutely. We're already seeing the beginning of this happen in the crypto world. There are several projects that are working on different types of decentralized Twitter, decentralized Reddit. We've seen this happen a lot of times over the past 3 to 5 years with people experimenting. No one has figured it out perfectly yet, but eventually someone is going to take the unique features from crypto and then tie them up with a decentralized social platform that'll go mainstream. Now, there have been several platforms already that work for cryptocurrency users. And so maybe those are a good place to look and see what people are doing. But I'm talking about crossing the chasm, replacing Twitter or Facebook. And we'll see. But it's inevitable that one of these projects is going to figure it out. Great. So next one is from L. Ananon. Maybe I have that pronounced correctly. And it's asking, what is the PayID launch? So thanks for the question. PayID is a project created by Ripple to connect payment information together. For instance, a PayID can attach your banking information to a cryptocurrency address, and you can read more about that on their site. And then the next one is a follow-up for that. It looks like it's from Cozy, and it's asked, what exactly is the difference between a unstoppable domain and a PayID in terms of payment gateway? Wouldn't a PayID make the unstoppable domain unnecessary since you could manually link your crypto address to your PayID? So PayID is stored on the server of a company that you trust, whereas blockchain domains are stored by you in your wallet. So PayID is more like trusting an exchange, while blockchain domain is completely controlled by you. So we actually look at it the other way around, where PayID can easily plug into a blockchain domain and become more useful due to all the apps that already support blockchain domains. And PayID extends the functionality of blockchain domains by also enabling banking information. So it's more cooperative than it is competitive. Next question is coming in from Hink, and it asks, right now I need an extension in browsers or Opera for website resolution, but how about some nations blocking the extension or Opera? So I would also point out that you could download the demo browser and you can run that locally, and that actually reads directly from IPFS, so that the Unstoppable browser, so there would be no way to block you in that case. And it's also likely that you're going to have more options in the upcoming year for resolution of websites as more people start to support blockchain domain names. Next question is from Crypto Benny, and it asks, when do you plan to have partnerships with Ledger, Coinbase, or 10x? So I'm assuming you're talking about integrations. I would say that hardware wallets are trickier because of their security concerns. So we've been in contact with Ledger for several months now. But if you're building a hardware wallet, the number one thing that you focus on for end users is actually security. So, and if you want to read off a smart contract on the blockchain, you need to basically have that hard coded somewhat into the actual hard wallet itself, so that you can trust the endpoint that you're reading, which makes sense. However, we are able to work with Ledger in that, you can now use Ledger on guest manage, for instance. So you can use it to store your domain and then also process transactions. In terms of resolution inside of the Ledger wallet, it's a little bit trickier there again because it's a hardware wallet. But yeah, we're going to keep pushing forward there. With the software wallets that you mentioned, so I think that software wallets, especially the self-custody ones, are a natural fit for blockchain domain names. We expect more support from software wallets over the second half of this year. And that's just a process. And as more people adopt it, then more people will use it. More wallets will integrate it. More people will adopt it. So please tell your favorite wallet. So if you have a wallet that you really love, it helps. Hit them on social media. hit them up in their Reddits or the Telegram, wherever they are, and let them know about unstoppable domains. And that actually gets conversation started for us. So it can be super useful. And maybe we should do a few campaigns around that in the second half of this year for particular wallets that are high value for end users. And we'll go after those with a targeted campaign. Steve asks, can you ban a domain that contains illegal stuff? So we cannot ban a domain, but we can choose not to resolve one on our website. We can't turn off a domain, and we can't reset a domain. Only the user who controls the keys can do that. And if the user is storing something up on a peer-to-peer storage network, for instance, where they've already paid for hosting, then it's going to be very difficult to take down anything. And that's kind of by design. The whole idea is you don't have to rely on us to resolve it for you. You can simply choose an application that does resolve the domain that you're looking for. And that way you'll be able to get to the content. And as we stated before, like there's 200 plus countries in the world. Different countries have different rules. Something that seems completely benign in the United States, such as information about a political opponent for someone running in Turkey, may actually be illegal inside of that country. So we try to not take an opinion on the protocol level, and the protocol does not take an opinion. However, inside our own web app, right? So like our resolution on our web app, etc., we will follow the laws of the US in terms of showing it to users. But that's because those are our software properties, and it's our responsibility to do that. Next question is from Chris, and he asked, he says, unstoppable domains have gotten into the hands of nearly all mobile crypto wallet users. What will be the next step to mobile user of iOS to be onboarded to a mobile browser solution now that iOS Store has suspended mobile crypto browsers? Has your team contemplated a workaround going forward? I would say there's several people trying to get a workaround for this. You'll see, like, I think a couple of the wallets have come to an agreement with iOS Store about their crypto browsing experience. Apple is really concerned about making sure that they get paid inside of their applications. So it's less about showing websites in there and more about controlling that Apple gets their fee. So it's going to take some negotiating with the wallets and making sure that Apple gets their cut within their ecosystem. But I think that ultimately they're going to come to some sort of compromise so that those web browsers will be allowed in certain crypto applications to be viewed. And then in terms of like how we're looking at addressing this, if we get cross-platform support on a browser for all of their applications, then obviously problem solved. So that's another way that we're looking at solving this problem about website resolution for mobile users. Great. So next one is from Ali, and he says, your project is very unique, converting cryptocurrency addresses into a domain name. The question is, like other domains, how do you convert a crypto address into a domain? And when a domain is expired, should the customer be worried if crypto address is still the same as a domain instead of domain change into another crypto address? So first thing, domain names do not expire. So you do not need to worry about domain names expiring. And that's one of the reasons why we did it. Just makes it so much simpler across the board for all sorts of applications for domain names. And as far as like how it works on the back end, it's easier than you think. What you're doing is you're signing a message with the private key that controls your domain name, and then you're writing information to the blockchain with a crypto address in it. So you're just writing, this is the address that I'm looking for. You can also write an IPFS hash. You can essentially write whatever you want. So just think of it as like a little miniature table on the blockchain or a database where you're just signing information and confirming that this is true about your domain. And once that's done, anyone can read it by looking up your domain name records using the right software libraries to read the blockchain correctly. And they will be able to see the crypto address that you've associated with. So yeah, it's actually quite straightforward on chain. And then again, once you buy the domain, you don't need to worry about renewals. Next one is from Michael. What are important things that are needed to accelerate the growth of the decentralized web? So number one is awesome websites. So there's a huge opportunity right now to make decentralized websites an app that excites users. We have thousands of people looking around for cool websites. There's a couple of new search engines actually for the decentralized web, and that you'll see next month coming out. And you know, the first person to launch a really cool decentralized website on .crypto is going to be the market leader in the space, right? For people coming on to the decentralized web. Just think about it. Like, there isn't currently a homepage of the decentralized web. And what do I mean by that? When you open up your web browser right now, most everyone opens up and they go to Google or they go to another search engine, right? And right now on the decentralized web, nobody's doing that yet. There's no place that you go to when you first open up and you go, okay, I want to see the decentralized web. There's no portal. It's the same thing on the Tor network. There's a couple of home pages there that people tend to go to. And I expect that to happen in the next second half of the year. Last question is from Emily, and it asks, can I use my domain for email? So you will be able to do this, although it won't be exactly how you use email now. So there's already a couple of projects that do this for blockchain domain names. ETHMail is one of them. We'll be working with them this next month to get that set up for .crypto domain names for you guys, so it'll work for receiving email. And yeah, stay tuned. So that's coming very soon. And thanks for the thoughtful questions. All right, everybody, appreciate it. I have a lot of new users in the community this month. Glad to have you guys join us. Looking forward to bringing the decentralized web to the rest of everybody.